Alrighty. All right.
Get in there.
McQueen over here. Well, it's going to be... where do we start?
Yeah, it's been a while, bro.
Mac,
Brush off the cobwebs.
What number? 26.
Welcome.
Just a duo.
The duo.
Getting it recorded, Brendan. Gonna have to get you on the other side of the mic soon, man. Where do we start? What's been happening?
There's been a lot happening.
Oh, mate, that washing machine.
Some of us, yeah.
Fuck.
Still in the washer, I think, as well. A little bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of processes.
Yeah. Meditation's helped.
Yeah.
So, let's stem it right back. I think it was the last time we got this podcast recorded. I sort of dropped into the get clear and get clean.
Yeah. Yep.
Get clear, get clean, meet me in the middle. That was exactly, and then all will be revealed in 30 days.
Guess what?
30th day today. Funny that. You had the day off. Brendan literally had an appointment cancel, and I messaged him straight after saying, hey, bro, we're going to do a pod. Funny how the universe works.
Here we are.
Exactly 30 days, get clear and get clean, we'll meet you in the middle.
It's all lined up.
Holy smokes.
A lot going on.
Fuck, man. And I want to be very mindful and slow when it comes to this episode today of ensuring I speak from my heart. So if I do pause or whatever, I think pauses are good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Multiple different processes, business and personal. I think I was tapped out in all areas, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah.
And it just put me in this spot of just like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, it's funny how the universe works through us all and puts us all in these positions. And, you know, I'll stem it back from probably best to stem it back from that episode. So a big part of that episode was no porn.
Yep.
Dropped out of that. And I think you were the one that said from day 7, you hit this. What is it?
Well, you get a spike in testosterone, supposedly.
Yeah.
After day 7.
Yeah. And I hit day 7. Turned to Superman. Seriously, like from day 7, that week, so exactly a week after that pod, things were falling from the sky. Like downloads, things I had to do, the reasons, the things I had to shift, which were big things, a lot of big things. And it was like, you got to keep up.
Yep.
And it makes sense why the download that day was get clear and get clean, we'll meet in the middle. Yep. You know, 30 days later, I can actually stand here and say I 100% resonate with that download, and I understand why now. There's so much more clarity, direction, energy in my field, in my energy field to take on what's coming. You know, and I'm excited to eventually go down that lane.
Your intuition got a little bit clearer as well.
Mm,
I suppose. You were acting on things that you know, without much doubt. It was nice for me to sit here and witness how you handled a lot of stuff and how you were going through the process and how you held yourself. And I think you know, you should be pretty proud because you were acting on how you felt. You know, you weren't second guessing yourself, and you know.
Yeah, massive. And it was like, if you don't have the courage to do these things, we're going to stay here.
Yeah.
And the first thing I was like is, I want to move. I'm not staying here. I'm moving. The universe is like, we can stay here, but you're not going to move unless you move forward with what we're giving you. And it's crazy, the downloads, like, it's so clear. Do this, move that, put that there. And I'm just like listening and moving with it all. And it's funny because during the process, like today is say day 30, because I think we did the pod and then I wrote in my phone the date, which fell on today, which is pretty funny, which actually makes me look back and realize, oh, wow, what can actually happen in 30 days and being clear and being clean. I had to be.
You get rid of that the background static noise.
Yeah.
You know, because it wasn't just the whole porn thing; it was the phone.
Yep.
Getting your phone under wraps and really limiting how much time we spend on checking it, pointlessly scrolling, all those things that create this background static and take you further away from being open to receiving these things and how you feel about things, you know. Just sitting quietly without your phone can be pretty powerful.
Oh, crazy, man. Just the stillness of like, you know, and with all those processes, I stopped meditating because so many things happened at once. 3 days later, I'm like, are you serious? Like, wow, we're doing all this stuff. So good the aircon just turned on because I was in a thought about the aircon turning on. Yeah. If we turn down the temperature, I'm pretty sure it'll stay on.
Yeah.
If it does get too hot, Brendan.
Yeah. Dial the knob down.
I think you might be able to drop it down to like 20 or something.
Yeah. There's a little red dot. You just go under that.
But yeah, no, it just was look, massive changes, and it's funny because after you move through the processes, you start to feel the clarity come and the realizations of like this was supposed to happen. Yeah. You know, and it's beautiful to see now, even though moving through the processes was difficult. It was like, it could have been a lot easier. Now I look back on what I just went through in the sense of like, if I was meditating and literally sticking to my practices, I would have moved through it a lot better. I've only watched porn once since that 30 days. And I'll get to that because that was I'm going to do me day, which was like literally fucking custard tart, chicken roll, frangos, rub one out, massage. It was like, we'll get to that day. But yeah, so the week after we sort of had that, or we all had that chat and we said, no, none of that. I hit this energy and all the conversations I had to have were fueled with confidence and just knowing, like just knowing. I'm like, I've just got to have this conversation. I've just got to do this thing. And it was like, there was no ifs or buts. It was so raw, coming to me. It was like, you got to do it. And, so I moved through that. And then, bro, the fucking universe, it was like, don't train this week. This was like 2 weeks ago. It was like, don't train at the gym this week, please.
You're already putting out a lot of energy in other areas.
Yeah. So not only am I mentally putting out a lot of energy with all the process I've got going on, I'm physically and mentally moving at the gym and doing all that stuff. And then it was like, don't train. Cool guy over here, Mr. Worldwide.
You had to, eh?
Had to train.
Yeah. What'd you hit?
You got to hit all muscles. You can't miss. I ain't skipping shit. Universe was like, don't train. This week's going to be a big week because I had a trainer that was sick. So I was covering most of the shifts. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm the man. I can do this. Yeah. Fuck. No, you can't, mate. I was so gassed.
Rattled.
3 a.m. wake-ups. Like just stupid shit. And then I was physically burnt out, mentally tapped out, not connected spiritually because I wasn't sticking to my practices and I was not feeling any emotion. So my emotional cut was like nothing. Yeah. So I wasn't,
We've only got so much bandwidth, I think. And I think that's why you feel such a big difference and big shift in how you're feeling within yourself and how events transpired and how you approach those events and how you tackled them with the energy that you tackled them. You know, the confidence and all that comes with eliminating the distraction and the stimulation. Because I think it does come down to like an overstimulated kind of lifestyle that we are all being bombarded with all this shit, whether it is, you know, whether you're picking up your phone to check notifications or whether you're picking it up out of habit to scroll, check Instagram and like whatever. That's my kryptonite. I'm just constantly like, at whatever moment I get, I'm a lot better, but that was kind of my downfall. But yeah, we just get bombarded by all this background shit that just takes up so much of your bandwidth, so much of your attention span on all this pointless stuff. When really you dial it down and you dial into the things that you really want to concentrate on and you fuck all that stuff off and you feel the difference. It's like you said, like day 7, I remember when I first jumped on the whole, you know, get rid of the porn and realising how bad it was and how detrimental it is to all areas of my life. I felt the same. Like I felt like this is it. Like I'm not fucking going back. Like, but the times I do, I notice that there's other things happening in my life that are making me feel a certain way. And that seems to be a little bit of a coping mechanism for me. Yeah. You know, like I don't even know. Like I know what the triggers and stuff are and whatever else, but I always find myself in that lower vibrational kind of feeling shit, and that's what I turn to. But when I flip it and I stay disciplined, fuck man, like you feel the difference.
Powerful.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So when you dial all that shit back and you've got all that bandwidth to deal with what you need to deal with, business, physical, even training and stuff, you preserve so much energy. You know, you just bounce off the walls. You feel great. So
yeah, and I think just through that whole process, what sort of come forward was like I got to a day where it's funny because what I started to do, what I noticed was like I was like this I was like on one of those rats that are on those cycles, and I'm just trying to run, but I'm not getting anywhere.
Yeah, a little hamster wheel.
Bro, I was like trying to do things on my to-do list for next Friday and getting anxious and making sure that I've got enough energy to be able to put up with that next Friday. I'm like, I've just got to get through this process. I've just got to, keep moving through. And then, I had a trainer that was sick one week, which was like the universe was like, don't train. And then that weekend I was gassed, like to the point I got a massage on the Saturday. I was in bed by Saturday night by 7.
Wow.
And then Janae's like, I had 3 kids, you and the 2 girls, asleep by 7, and I'm just here just doing nothing. And I was so gassed, like not present. And then I'd kicked on the next week and I had another trainer that was away. Same thing. I'm like, but what I noticed was my to-do list later in the week, rather than just being present and allowing the day to come and then do what you got to do, I was getting anxious. But the anxiousness of...
Because you were living there.
Well, the anxiousness of my to-do list was wrapped in something else, of all the processes I was going through. So rather than trying to move through the process, the second that I accepted that I was in a process, multiple, was the time that I could actually sit there and unpack it and bring it back.
To being, instead of the doing.
Yep.
You get overwhelmed by all the stuff that you have to do.
Yep.
And then you get consumed.
And it wasn't, and I know my doing is a lot better when I come from the place of being.
Yep.
But I was just doing everything to get through it, and I'm like, I just got to get through this process. And the universe is like, you're going to stay in this process if you just continue to tell us that you're going to just get through it. You're not seeing the lesson.
Yeah, that's right. It's the journey, right?
100%. And the second that I accepted the process, I had to accept it. Okay, I'm going through multiple different things in multiple different parts of my life. One process is really good.
Yep.
I've just got to work through it and I know what's coming. Another process sucks, and another process is like, yeah, sweet, I got to do what I got to do. So, and I noticed all these insecurities come up with all of it. But I noticed whatever you project reflects. So whenever you're projecting from a place of not being authentic and true, and I revisited some feelings that I've had a while back, and instead of allowing that to prolong, I knew that I was about to revisit some of these feelings, and I knew how to deal with them this time around. And a big part of it, I didn't learn it at the start because the ego crept in quietly, these little whispers of like, oh, like, and when other people are involved and there's a lot of different voices and there's different opinions and conversations and stories, you get very wrapped up in it.
Oh, yeah.
So the protective part of me came through of trying to protect, what's mine and what I have built.
Yep.
So I was protecting that again, rather than just allowing it to be. And that's what I noticed when I was coming from that place. I was in a thought about everyone coming from that place.
Yeah.
And that's when I went, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
You don't usually think like this. And it's funny when things happen, the same thing can happen, but your perspective of it can be different.
Yep.
I'm like, hang on a minute. I'm so used to this ego wrapping itself up and coming through. I never take on any of this stuff. Why are you taking it on now? What's changed? Your perception of it.
Yep.
How are you acting? What are you projecting? Because what we say projects reflect. So when I seen that, I was like, oh, all right, own it, bring it back, and now let's start this process again because you're not learning. So I did that, revisited it, experienced it, felt it for what it was, moved through it a lot quicker than the first time I did. So the universe was like, well done. And I think it's such a big thing when multiple different things are happening, and I was like, does any of this really matter? That's what I said to myself the other day. I'm like, does any of this really matter?
It's a good question.
And I was like if I'm going to look back on my life, am I going to be like, oh man, like, all these things. I'm like, you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Picture stuff, yeah.
Seriously, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. This all can play out the way it's supposed to. I'm not going to hold on to this anymore. I'm not going to box this thing in. I'm not going to try and control this all these things happening at once. I'm going to let that go, and that go. And it can, rather than trying to catch all the cards, it's funny you say all these things, but when you need it,
when you're in the thick of it, it's
yeah.
But like, can I say, the way you're talking now with that awareness to pick up on all this stuff that you're going through and how you've been dealing with it and stuff like that awareness on its own, that's like, hats off to anyone that can sit there and reflect and be aware of these little processes and these little things that are coming through, the way you're unpacking it now. That's an ability on its own.
Yeah.
So, it can be, I guess it's a fine line between getting wrapped up in these things as they're transpiring in real time, as opposed to sitting back and going, fuck, aren't I glad that I've got the awareness to be able to see this for what it is and reflect on my own perception, because that's it automatically just shit, like you start to become a little bit more you should be, and I think anyone that can do that, like, it's good on you.
Appreciate that, bro, because it's when a lot of things are happening and you're visiting a lot of different emotions, it's very hard to see what ones are actually real and what ones aren't.
That's right, and there's no one right way to go about anything.
No, socks coming off, bro. I'm going.
Get toes out.
Toes out, bro. You know this is going to be a big convo. Shirt's coming off next. Jokes, I just say.
That's a monthly subscription right there.
Yeah. Hey. Download the app.
I think, like, props to you, props to anyone, like, the awareness that it takes, the ability to reflect on the way you think about things and approach things. It just straight away gives you the ability to tap into seeing things from a different perspective. Because like, there can be this one thing happening and then you can be looking at it from this angle, but then, with this awareness and the stuff that we kind of talk about, you rotate, you go through and you look at it from all these different other angles, and it can be very hard to get caught up in, not to get caught up in it and get a bit hard on yourself and start going, well, maybe, I was too much of this, I was too much of that, or like, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that, because that comes with it too. But that, like you say, experience, right? You've dealt with a few things before, and then they come back around, and you've got a bit of a more of a confident approach to, I've dealt with this, I know how to go through this now, and I'm going to carry these things that I've learnt into the experience. Like I said, that potty, what is it to talk? It's one thing to talk about these things. It's another thing to actually put them into action. And you can't really ever refine your spiritual practices or your mindset if you're not putting these things into action through experience, through the shit things happening. Because you need these shit things happening. Yeah. You need them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well done. Good on you.
Yeah, bro. And experiencing these things, it's funny how the universe works. It's like, I kept getting this like thing of trying to control. And that's when like, it was getting to that second week that I was really burnt out. And when you're burnt out physically, you can't think straight. And like, the last thing I wanted to do was meditate. The last thing I wanted to do was, and I'm like, I've just got to get clean and get clean. I've just got to eat healthy. I've just got to train. I've just got to, and I was like, you know what? I ain't doing nothing.
Yep.
I literally went home to Janae and I said, this afternoon, I ain't doing shit. I'm not answering that phone call. I'm not replying back to that voice message. I'm not replying back to that text. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing anything. Yep. And it was the best thing I did. Yep. And it was from a podcast from Evan Britton. And he's like, I'm not fucking doing it anymore. I'm not doing anything. It was I can do a lot of things when I'm in a good state, but I was at the point where I'm like, I am no good to anyone today. No. So you know what I'm going to do? Me.
Put yourself first.
Janae goes, go do whatever the fuck you want to do. Yeah. I'm like, don't say that. I'm going to Vegas, baby. And I said, but you know what I did? I got in the car. I said, you know what?
Custard tart.
It's Thursday. And you know what? Mate goes like, you got to eat clean. You got to stay healthy because we're going through a process and we just got to keep going through it. And I'm like, you know what? No. My soul wanted a chicken roll with a custard tart. So that's exactly what I went and did.
Some custard, eh?
Went and I sent you a photo, didn't I?
Yeah.
I went and got a chicken roll and a custard tart.
Rub it in.
And then had a couple phone calls. I honestly think you're one of them. And I was like, not answering. Yeah. I love you, but I'm just not answering.
Yeah. You sent me the emoji that.
Middle finger.
It's all right, bro.
Oh, doing you. Okay,
I get it.
Yeah. And then I went and got a 90-minute massage. Then I went and I meditated in here and I actually had a sleep. And then I had work that Arvo, which was fine. And then I was like, I'm going to get Frangos. I'm going to get chicken and chips. Burger and chips. And a muffin. And 2 ice creams. And
where does it stop?
Janae's like, oh. Janae turns around and goes, you just said you were doing you. I didn't realise, like, you were really going to do it. Like
everything in moderation, guys.
Yeah. So, and then the next day I felt better. Like I just felt a little bit free.
Look, it comes with being compassionate to yourself and being easy on yourself, yeah? I mean, we talk about discipline and stuff. There's... not everything's black and white. Like, I used to look at the world very black and white, this or this. And I was the same. Like, I was very honed in on, like, almost to the point of obsessively concerned about diet, training, like, obsessed with it. Had to go this way, that way, like...
Control.
Full on. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Having captain's hat on, and I had that wheel, like veins were popping out. I was holding on to it that hard, But
holding on to what?
The wheel.
Oh, 2 ends. I'm just saying, 2 ends.
Hey,
in 2 different spots.
I wish.
Who are they? You said veins were popping, and you got 2 hands.
Steering like this.
Oh yeah.
All right. Trying to steer the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it wasn't until, like, I look back now and, like, it's good to know that you've got the commitment and the passion to really throw yourself into these things, but you've also got to kind of unpack it and go, well, why? Because if it doesn't make you happy all the time, well, and like that, you're going through some stuff, it's you got to treat yourself. You got to sometimes just go, all right, yeah, eat clean, nutrition, train, like all this stuff, but why am I ignoring some of the things that I feel like I want to do to make myself happy?
Yeah. And I think that was the biggest thing. It was going off feeling. It was like, rather than just thinking that I know the way and staying there, it was more like, how do you feel right now? It's like, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this to-do list. Because wrapped in because I was trying to stay ahead. Yeah. And that's the thing I noticed. The biggest thing in this journey, in this spirituality, self-development, whatever you want to call it, is be present.
Yeah.
But here I am being far from present because I'm trying to stay ahead. Yeah. And the university is like, well, why you keep... So everything I was doing in the now really didn't mean anything because I was really in the future.
I'm coming from the place here up here.
Yeah. I'm at home with the girls and I'm trying to predict next Friday's thing. Yeah. It's just so I can get through it. And it's like, get through what? What are you getting through? You're sitting in a process. The first place is acceptance. Cool. I accept how do I feel right now? I feel like shit. Okay, well, how about you don't train? And that was actually the day that I rubbed one out as well. Because I was like, you know what? And then it was funny because I did. And then I was like, oh, okay.
I was going to actually ask, like, what was some of the contributing...
I thought you were going to ask what category. I think when you have a couple of weeks off, you take whatever.
The Kmart magazine.
I typed in on Google big tits in public.
Fuck.
He knows.
Fuck, we've derailed this.
Sorry.
Okay,
this is why these podcasts are good. A lot of people say that. They love the humour mixed in with the truth. And we're very good at adapting to both.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Way too truthful.
Yeah. I seen a book cover and it just... it was... Eckhart Tolle was on the front and I freaked out and just next thing you know, shit everywhere. I think the carpet's clean.
Yeah.
No, but... Look, and that was another one where I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that today as well.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
And I did, and it was like, oh, that wasn't what it cracks up to be.
Yeah.
So now I haven't even revisited that, and I think that was over a week ago.
Yeah.
But just from that surrendering part, like you said, you and me are very, we like things like a certain way. And I think our personality type needs to always be sure that you can jump on the other side of the fence as well if needed.
Yeah.
Rather than, because once upon a time I said, I never think I'll watch porn again.
Yeah.
But I did.
Yep.
So it was like, that's where I always say these things to Janae. And she's like, okay, but just remember, there's always another side to it.
Yeah.
Like you can always know that, obviously this is a side that you like to work from, but just be mindful that there's always two sides. And if you visit the other side, I want you to make sure that you're not feeling like you're a failure or you've let yourself down or like, oh fuck, because that's
right.
That's when we get caught up in our own heads.
Yep.
So it was like, sweet, friend goes, custard tart, this, that, and the other. And then the next day I felt better because I just freed myself up from that feeling again. And then I had, it was funny because I had no coaching clients. We had no podcast. I had no sessions with Darren or anything. It was all just like
free.
The universe was like, I'm not giving you any outlet.
Yeah.
You're going to sit in this and I want you to see what comes of it, you know? And I think for me, the biggest thing that I sort of come from it was the fact that, you know, it all would have played out the exact way it was supposed to. So how about you just let go of it and let the universe just do what it does?
Yep.
Because the second that I let go of it and I went back to my practices, meditating, being conscious on my phone, all this stuff come through again. It was like, that was always there. And I think the biggest part that people need to know is that there's nothing externally that's going to bring you peace. There's nothing on this external world that's going to bring you peace.
Yep.
And if you're out there trying to search for this external thing to make you feel a certain way, it is not going to fulfill you the way that your internal peace fulfills you. When you just breathe, bring yourself back to a still mind, you come back in, you give yourself that time to be able to bring yourself back into your true self and create free space, is the place where peace comes from.
Yeah, it definitely all comes from within. And I think the phone, you know, I think 90% of some of the drama and problems and stresses and stuff kind of usually, I think if we have to sit here and say how important it is to sit in a room in silence for a little while, and that in itself is almost a bit scary to some, you know, even for us. Like, I mean, I do it, I meditate and I do some of these things. I don't do them all the time. And even sometimes, if I'm being brutally honest, the thought of saying, okay, I'm going to allocate 30 minutes to sit in stillness and in silence, no phone, no nothing. Even sometimes to me that seems like a task, like a chore that I don't really necessarily want to do.
Call of Duty though.
Oh, Call of Duty, I'll sit in that fucking thing for 2 hours, bro. Free for all. I just play free for all, game after game after game. Talking shit to other people on there, and
but see how that
making friends.
That fulfills the ego. Yeah, like that's entertaining.
Yeah,
you know, but
it's the whole dopamine thing too. It's the whole like video games, like porn, whatever you want to choose, whatever it is for you. It's fulfilling that little. It's sparking a little quick hit of dopamine. You know, that's why it is so. That's why it's not alluring to sit in a room without your phone for a long period of time. You know, and we've grown up with these things, I guess. We're kind of in a bit of a funny era.
Yeah, we're in that middle.
Yeah, we didn't grow up with it, so we know before. But we all, like, even for me though, I grew up with video games. Yeah, that was a big part of my childhood. Yeah, so I always grew up with something, being distracted. You know, not just being bored.
Will you ever end Call of Duty on a loss?
Yeah.
Sit with you.
Yeah.
It's not something you got to revisit later.
No, I mean, I might lay in bed and lose sleep if I didn't win. But nah, not like that. It is purely just for fun and just for a bit of mindless. You know, it kind of helps me unwind a little bit because I do. You know, I've come a long way in figuring things out, what works for me. You know, like I was saying before, it can be a fine line getting caught up in this negative self-talk or condemning yourself for not doing something properly. That was big for me. I always had to have things a certain way, and if I didn't train that day, I would let it throw me off completely. Like just fucking shit mood, whatever else. For me now, I've done like a big loop where it's like, I guess I don't always base things off feeling because then I wouldn't ever really get anything done because like this is the funny thing is like you can't always go off feeling because then you wouldn't get up and go to the 5 a.m. G3 HIIT class or because let me tell you, when you and Jacko were trying to get me to come to that HIIT class, I did not. There was not one part of me that felt like going to that. we were out having a drink on Friday night at the Bav and you were like, you know, but I did it.
How'd you go?
Because I knew it was going to make me feel good.
Yeah.
And fuck me, I was grateful. Yeah. You know, it's good to have people around you that, you know, make you do those things. But if I had have gone off how I felt when I woke up that day,
Didn't feel like
I
it.
wouldn't have went.
Yeah.
So it's just knowing, and this is why the awareness comes into it, and sitting by yourself in silence helps, because you can determine what's the ego and what's
Yeah.
not the ego.
100.
What you know, the things that you think and stuff, them not being truthful, but then also using it to your advantage.
Yeah.
So I can use my mind to get some fucking shit done,
Yeah.
and I've proven it to myself time after time again. But, and this is, if you want to strip it right back, I guess this is moving from fear or from love.
Yeah.
I used to know nothing but moving from fear. So fear was so, like, love was nothing. Like, not until recently, having this mushroom experience tapped me into what I had inside me, and the love and the compassion and the empathy and all that stuff. Like, before that, I was quite numb to it because I was just moving from this place of fear. But I look back now and reflect on it, and I think I actually found things that I loved through the place of fear. So, like, growing up through school, I had a bit of a weird kind of, I guess one of my insecurities were like weakness or being found out, like being like, I don't know. Because I guess you strip everything back, the identity and all that. It's like everyone's scared of something, you know. And I guess one of my things was being scared of being weak and showing. And this could come back to, like, you know, where I grew up, who I grew up with.
Yeah, but our school was like savage. We had a lot of different energies going to Kingswood.
Yeah.
It was a jungle in there.
Yeah, bloody oath. And it was even my upbringing, I suppose, as well. It was like big on respect and, like, you know, give respect. But then, you know, if you don't get it, I had this thing of like, you know, but that was all wrapped in a fear of being thought to be weak, or I don't want people to think this or that. Always worried about what people were thinking of me.
Yeah, the attachment of the identity of self.
Yeah, and it all come back to like self-consciousness stuff, you know. But through that, I consistently ended up channeling that into things that made me feel uncomfortable, but I ended up becoming comfortable with them.
Yeah.
So, like, I think I found like, my dad was big on martial arts and stuff like that. So, but I found boxing, kickboxing, stuff like that pretty early on, and training. Dad got me into like weights and stuff and exercising, and I remember getting into that pretty early. And man, I found like a love for it pretty quickly. And then I also found myself becoming more confident in myself. But then when you throw yourself into the mix of youth in Kingswood and some groups and some things that were going on, I quickly found out how scared I was of certain situations I was getting myself into.
Gotcha.
But kind of, I guess, using that to get me through it. You know, fear was the driver to get me to where I am today, basically. But through all that, I found boxing, and then I found a love for training, and I found some bloody good mates through there. But then that went from being scared of walking into a boxing gym.
Yeah, wow.
Being scared of walking into a gym surrounded by other people that know how to throw down, and overcoming my own, I guess, like self-doubt and insecurities.
Yep.
And then after time, slowly, it diminished, it went away, and I found a new place of like where I enjoy being. And I met some more people, and then I started sparring. And then I remember the first time I ever was asked to get in the ring and spar with someone, I was like, fuck, here I am again. He's a little boy that's just fucking scared of what's about to happen. Yeah. But then getting comfortable with it. Yeah. And using that fear, I suppose, which then turned into a love for training and a love for myself too, because I proved to myself that I could do it. And I think that was a thing of like being incapable. Yeah. I didn't want to be incapable of doing stuff, and I wanted to prove to myself, like, no, I can do it. If I put my mind to it, I can do it. Yeah. And so it got me there. And like all through my youth, that was all just fear driven. So I guess there's no right or wrong, is what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, we can move from love or fear, but it's not all that bad if you do find yourself moving from fear.
You're going to learn something.
It's just how you use it. Because I was always, I was being driven by emotion and overwhelmed by emotion, man. Yeah. Like my emotion would get the best of me. Up until the last year or 2 years even. And I'm like going on 30 years old. Yeah. Like, well, I'm going on 29.
Yeah.
So, but like yeah, emotion for me was like my kryptonite because it would just rule me in the worst ways possible. Anger, all those ones just took over a lot of my life decisions and like, you know, so yeah, finding that, the ability to harness my thoughts and my emotions and use them to my advantage and not identifying with them and realising that there's more to these things. Yes, I feel this way, but I can also pull myself back and just feel it for what it is and not wrap myself up in these little stories.
Yeah. I think that's massive what you said in the sense of like identifying the feelings and what comes with it. Like you need to identify. That's the thing. I didn't realize how anxious I was the last couple of weeks. I was so anxious. Like I was in a thought about making sure that I did everything that I could do next Friday and had enough energy for it. I'm like, that's 10 days away.
Yeah.
So now it's like identifying the feeling that was coming, but because I was trying to do too much, I couldn't actually stop and be still and embrace and also just see what I'm feeling. Because I think you need to identify the feeling first.
Yeah.
And I love that you touched on what you said before is like, for me now meditating, I can judge what's the thinking mind and what's the actual feelings that I'm embodying.
Yeah.
So like even that, I meditated this morning, had a conversation today, and then I noticed some thoughts creep through. And I'm like, oh, look at that. They're just thoughts because I know what I feel, you know, and there was nothing in the conversation that, you know, made me think it. It's just the ego will love to creep in wherever it can to have that.
And there's always 1,000 reasons not to do something, eh? But if it's what you want to do, just fucking jump at it.
Yeah.
Like your ego's always going to come at you with all this shit not to do something, not to have a tough conversation or why you shouldn't or things like that. So like...
Yeah, and I think moving off feeling as well was massive. It was like, all right, so when I had that day that I just did whatever I wanted, the next day sort of freed me up of like, see how everyththing's still the exact way it was supposed to be, but it's just my perception on things. And I think a bit of R&R over the weekend really got me good. Like I think it was Sunday morning. Like it's like it was just there. I was like, why can't I get it? Where is it? I was like, it's in you. What aren't you doing? And I was like, and straight away, I'm like justified it. I'm like, oh, I'm not watching porn. It's like, yeah, how are you on your phone? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that could be better. It's like, It's like, well, are you meditating? It's like, no. Then this is a conversation I'm having with the universe. I'm driving home and I'm like, I'm getting a bit emotional driving, just thinking about it. And it's like, are you meditating? I'm like, no. They're like, you know that's where the answers are. Nothing externally is going to give you that feeling except when you meditate. You know what you're like. You need to meditate. And I was like, yep. Went home, meditated, walked out, completely different person. Janae's like, welcome back. Hey, where you been? Couple of weeks off. How was it? How was it in the thinking mind? Did you have fun there? What'd you learn? Or are you just in the washing machine when everything played out the exact way it was supposed to, but you were just in a thought about trying to fix everything and be everything and control everything?
Taxing your nervous system too.
Bro.
From all angles.
Yeah. Off topic, speaking of nervous systems, the alarm clock Janae has would trigger my nervous system when I would first wake up in the morning.
Spike that little...
Like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
So we've revisited. Let me show you.
Fuck, I hate alarms.
Seriously?
I hate alarms, man.
So
you remember those old like alarm clocks? I had an orange one. It was like a digital alarm clock and it was just this ugly...
So I'm going to play what Janae would have and this is what I'd wake up to. Like, see how it's so dominating? I'll play it one more time. Like... Too much. It's.
Does that just keep going?
Yeah. And you know what? I'm not having that anymore. So I said to Janae the other day when I came out of my awakening, I said, you know what? Shit's about to change around here. Sat all the kids down. Said, you know where we're going to start? With the alarm clock. So I went through the list and this one's called Uplift. And it's funny because ever since I've started using Uplift, I've been waking up and uplifted. And let me show you this one. This is the start of a good Jim Carrey movie that's like, you just know it's going to be fun. Ready? I've been bouncing out of bed. Janae's like, you idiot. So Uplift, guys, check it out. It's what I've been using and it feels damn good. I wake up and I put my feet on the ground and I look up and I just thank the universe that I'm here. Then I go make my lemon drink, and then I just have my scoop of attention, and I'm good to go. Where before, bit of a rattled state, didn't know where I was at. The sirens are going off. Where now, uplift. So get on to it, boys. Watch the change. So there's been some changes.
Not spiking that cortisol, eh?
Yeah, no, but
that stress response.
But it is so crazy how and we'll just touch on it, and then I think we'll give Jacko a call. It's so crazy how if you don't identify and actually go within and find out what you're feeling, you can stay caught up in that for so long. And you touched on it before. It was like, the little means. I don't know how you identified it. You said the baby me inside didn't want it.
The little boy me.
The little boy, yeah. We've all got a little boy inside of us all. Well, girls have always got little girls. Past versions of yourself that you need to identify. Sorry. Fucking.
Keep going.
Kill me.
Keep going. Keep going.
We've all got this little boy inside of us that is the one that we need to protect.
Yeah.
Outside we can be doing everything and whatever, but really inside there's a connection there that we need to make sure that we always have of checking in with that little boy and being like, what's happening, bro? Like, are we good? How are we feeling? Feeling a bit tired today? We should have a rest, shouldn't we? Or because that's the one that has all the creativity. That's the one that does everything. Like, that's coming from that place. When I project from that place, I can just fire off from multiple different things. And then it's crazy because when I don't check in after a while, I go to revisit and it's sort of like, well, you sort of had 2 weeks off. Like, don't think that we can just connect and be back to where you want. For me personally, I'm in a thought about this podcast of like, I don't know what everyone else's perception will be of it, but my perception is the rebuild. Like, this is like a rebuild episode for me to be able to get the confidence to know that the next episode will be a bit better than this one.
Yeah, cobwebs off. It's been a while.
Yeah, but like it's because the little boy inside of me is like, well, like we're just going to step out and like we've had a bit of time off, bro. Like, which is fine, but I need to continue to discipline myself to ensure that I keep my practices in place to keep revisiting that little boy and checking in with him and seeing how he's doing, because I'm outside trying to do everything where it's like, if I just come in here and check in with him, everything else is sweet. Me and that connection is, everything else is fine. When we've got that good bond, I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. I'm not in a thought about anyone else's thoughts. I don't care. I know who I am.
Yep.
But when I'm not connected to that little boy inside of me, that's when I become anxious and worried, and because I'm not checking in with myself. And we went and seen that Gabby Breenstein. Brendan was there as well. Me and Brendan go to all these events not together, but then we realised we're together. It's not till after, but that's what she was talking about, checking in continuously. How do you feel right now? Daily, like as much as you can. Check in with yourself. What's going on? Feeling anxious. Why are you feeling anxious? Oh, because of this to-do list. I've got to get everything done, and I'm working through a process, and blah blah blah. I was like, relax. That's not the reason why you're anxious. You're never anxious about your to-do list for next week. What's really going on? Well, a lot's been happening. Okay, cool. Are you moving through it? Yeah. Are you accepting it? No. Well, how about we start there? Accept it. Can we accept it? You've actually moved through one of these processes before. Another one of the processes is a bit scary, but the universe wants you to do it. And then another one of the processes will play itself out. So how about we just let go of it all? I was like, yeah, I should. And it's funny how the universe works. Elise is like a guardian angel from above that's now one of the head trainers at G3, and she's like impeccable. Like, I've never seen anyone come in and just absolutely dominate the floor. And it was funny how that just came at the perfect time. And then I got another guy in my life named Shan, who's, I classify him now as like my business mentor, who's been a franchisor before and had things happen in his career with the way things have gone for him that are very similar to me, which he understands the feelings that I've had and have. So when I went to him with some things, I said, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, yep, cool. It's like, basically the easiest way to put terms into it was like, I'm going to go sit over here and I don't care what you say. That's basically what I said to him without those words. Does that make sense? It's just the best way to describe it is put it in a story. Straight away, he was like, no worries, bro. Go sit over there. And then I was like, yeah, because I'm going to. He's like, yeah, cool. There was no resistance.
Yeah.
2 days later, I'm like, all right, so I'm not going to sit all the way over there. I'm just going to sit probably halfway, but I'm definitely going to sit here. Okay. Cool. No worries, bro. 2 days later, how's that feel? Sitting there. I don't like sitting here. All right, well, where do you want to sit? Because you can sit there or there. Pick your spot. And I was like, he goes, I get it. Do you feel this, this, and this, 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 and this? And the universe is working through him. And I'm getting emotional on the phone. I'm fucking bawling my eyes out. He's like, do you feel like this and this because of this? And you feel like you're holding this and this? And I'm like, yep. He goes, I get it. I've been through it. And it was the first time I felt not heard, but I felt someone can relate to the feelings of the expectations. And that's my word that I wrap myself in. So he goes, sweet. Well, because I'm involved now, what I want you to do is let go of all of it and let me hold on to it. And it's crazy. I was like, what? He goes, let go of it. You don't hold on to it anymore. You don't have to, nor do I want you to, because the way you are in this business is very different to everyone else. Everyone else moves in G3 is very business. I'm very personal and emotional when it comes to it because it was my baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You built this.
Built to 2010. It's all I know my whole life. And I've worked for everything I've been given. Not saying I got given nothing, but it was, around the average. So, and my parents just gave me love and attention and, that type of stuff, which was all I ever wanted anyway. So it actually worked out really well. And I've rebuilt who I am through this.
Yeah.
So the fact that someone could come in, understand, relate, drop in with me and really, like, he was finishing my sentences. Then I got real emotional and he goes, now let go of it. From now until we take these steps, don't go there. I'll tell you when you've got to step in and I'll let you step in and you stay in your own lane rather than this lane, because you're not good at this lane. You're not good at business decisions and all that stuff. You're good at the fun stuff, the hype, the creativity, the programming, the connection. That's what you're good at. Yeah. And I'd rather you just stay in that lane than trying to have to be someone in this lane that you're not.
How funny though, you can see it for what it is, like the universe putting these people in your life at a particular time.
Yep.
With lessons or, help. They come in all different shapes and forms, but like being able to notice it, far out. He's come along right at the right time.
Yeah. And the second that he had that conversation, he goes, now let go of it for me, promise that. And I'm like, I have to, man. And I was so grateful. I sent him this big message. And he just goes, wow, that's awesome, bro. He goes, I'm excited to help you and I'm excited to go on this journey. So it's funny how the universe gives you the right people. I just wish I could sort of see what's above and see like, nah, all right, well, you go over there and think that you're going to sit there, but really you're going to come back over here. And I think I had to, because in my head I was like, why did I do that? Why did I go sit over there and tell him I'm sitting there, then come closer? It was like, because you needed to be pushed that far away to realize that you don't like being that far away. Now you come back. Now it's like, now can you listen? Can you stop trying to take everything on? Can you stop with all this bullshit?
Because you got backup now. You don't feel like you have to take control.
Yeah. Because
like there's a party that wants to take control. Am I wrong? But at the same time, no, you don't. Sometimes you need to let go of that and you need a bit of help and need a bit of backup.
And that's where Janae comes in. She's a clutch when it comes to business decisions. But that's the thing. It ties into personal because we're in a relationship. We've been mindful of the way we talk about things because things that she says and the way she takes it is completely different to the way things I take it. So now she revisits those conversations of how to approach these things to me rather than telling me things and I'm in a thought for 3 hours. Yeah. So that was another thing that we had. So all these realizations and all these processes have just moved through the last 3 weeks. And to sort of wrap that up and we'll give Jacko a cheeky call. I feel good.
Yeah, good.
I feel energized. I feel excited. I feel motivated. I feel like a lot of pieces were moving at once, and I don't think I've ever had that happen at once. Like a lot of things in different areas.
A lot of big decisions.
A lot of massive decisions. Yeah. In a short period of time was a lot, but I guess the universe gives you what you can handle, and I could handle it, and learned the lessons through it, and now it's like, come back to your practices, keep it very simple. Don't try and force anything externally that's going to burn energy.
Yeah.
So if I notice myself slightly burning energy of trying to make something work, I just let go of it. I'm like, let the universe put it there. Like, let them come. Let that happen. Let the cards fall there. Don't, because I get excited or I want to move through it too quickly. So now it's like, let it go. So, yeah.
It's been good to sit by and watch you go through it too.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, thank you for being there. I appreciate it.
I'm grateful I can be a part of what's going on here and what you're doing, man, because, big things coming.
Yeah, a lot of things happening.
A lot of things to be excited for, and it's hard not to get too excited.
Well, that was another thing.
It's hard to reel it back and sit and go, okay, I'm going to breathe. I'm just going to chill.
Yeah.
Because, man,
Yeah, it was massively. And it was like, got emotional with some of the things that have sort of transpired in a good way.
Yeah.
Of looking up and putting my hands out and being like, do you really want this to happen?
Yeah.
And it was like, yes. I was like, and then things happened and I'm like, holy fuck. And I'm excited to talk about them when they arrive and talk about how the whole process worked out. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in the universe, then you will laugh at this certain story. That's for sure.
This is almost at the point where it's just a bit.
It got me a little bit. Yeah. So, but in other news, Jacko's packed up his bags and taken off. So, yeah,
he's here in spirit.
He's here in spirit. And we come up with
hang on, we got a caller on the line.
We've got a caller on the line.
Line 1.
I'm going to set him up over here. Jacko.
Oh, man himself.
We're going to set you up on your... We're going to put you on your seat.
I'm going to put you on your chair.
Oh, I feel right at home right now.
Can you see us?
I can see you. I can just see Joshy. Loving it.
You look a lot smaller there.
What are you trying to say? I dropped sizes.
No.
How is it, bro? How you going?
Oh, man. Amazing, bro. Amazing. Enjoying this beautiful sunny weather at the moment.
Yeah.
Sitting out on the balcony.
Where are you right
it
now?
Up. Rockhampton, bro.
Rockhampton?
Yeah. The Rocky.
Living lavish?
Yeah, bro. Like, any place that has beautiful weather and, close to the beach is living lavish, I guess.
Bro, that spot you posted the other day, that little treetop thing. Oh, man. And to do it with your dog too, just you and your boy.
Bro, it's been such an amazing trip. Just to be able to experience all that with him. He's a career-driven boy. As a drug detection dog, they don't really get too much freedom. They're role specific. So this was a great opportunity to get him out there and show him what life's really about.
So we haven't actually touched on what's happened. We just said we'll call in Jacko. So I wanted to wait till we actually got you on to get to throw it down live, but we sort of painted a little bit of a picture, I guess you could say, and then the universe sort of had other plans for you. You sort of had this feeling that you want to take off and take off upstream to, was it Gold Coast?
Nah, Rockhampton.
Rockhampton. Sorry, yeah, you guys literally just said that. Yeah, okay. And then you just had the feeling that you want to be closer to your mum and be able to go. You're going on a trip for a couple months next week, I'm pretty sure. And how'd that sort of transpire? Because it's crazy how the universe works. We're just touching on some of the processes I've sort of moved through, how quickly things can shift. And I think the biggest thing is always being open to change and allowing the ocean to just go whatever way it's supposed to, I guess.
Yeah, man. It just sort of it got to a part of my life where I was just contemplating a lot on sort of where I wanted to be and how I wanted to live, the rest of my life. With quitting my job and moving out and stuff like that. It was something that just come to me one day that I was just like, I feel like I really need to, clip the wings a little bit and get a bit of independence and, go up and give something else a crack for a bit. And, it's one of those things that if it doesn't work out, you've always still got home, Penrith's home for me, and Sydney's home. So it's always an option there. But, over that last week, man, like it was just this strong pull to do something different. And, Mum's up here in Rocky and she she loves it, and I've been up here a couple of times and just love the vibes up here, man. People are just beautiful, very welcoming, very friendly. 30 minutes away from the beach, beautiful weather most year round, and just followed the heart a little bit. Obviously, we had a lot of stuff, in the pipe work there, and I wanted to give it my everything, but then there was just this other part of me, we go off feeling a lot here, and sometimes you just got to follow that, and it's honestly been the best thing I've ever done. Like, I know I've travelled up over the last week, but it's just, nothing felt wrong. When you go into something and you sort of have those little bit of an inkling that, should I or shouldn't I? This was just, this was intuitive. This was just following the heart, and have not regretted it.
Yeah.
Traveling up here.
Beautiful. I love that. And that's the thing, moving off that feeling in itself of how you feel of actually have to move with that, because that's the universe's way of moving through you. It's like, let's move this way. It's like, I don't know why, I've just got to go. I don't know why I've got to have that conversation. I just do. There's a part of us that we need to ensure that we're always tapping into, that you make. That's when when you make a move and there's not one thought after it, it just feels right. That's the moves that you got to start being aware of and moving with. Otherwise, the universe will just keep you where you're at.
Yeah, man. And the life that I could have had in Penrith with everything that, we had talked about was, would have been a dream, but just a really strong pull to want to go up north and use this as a base, while I travel overseas and just dabble in other things. Stuff that I normally probably wouldn't do, putting myself outside my comfort zone a little bit.
We said that this year will be a year for you once we jumped on the Love What Is 10-week program. I think after that, and you've done it, you went through the trenches a fair bit there. I think it was known that this year was going to be a very big random year. And there's some years that you sort of can see how they're sort of going to play out. And obviously there's curveballs every year, but then there's those years that are like, you'll remember this year for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Because so many random things happen. You'll look back in December and go, fuck, in January I was here. Now I'm Brad Pitt in India. I don't know, whatever you want. Whatever.
Signing shirts and chests and
yeah.
So,
oh man, like sometimes I reflect even now, like only coming this far, and I'm already like how much my life has changed, man. Like since jumping on the program, and the way that it opened my eyes to the world, and like I often have these types of conversations even with my mum, and just about how different my life is and how grateful I am that I can now appreciate the smaller moments. And I don't have to travel to get those smaller moments. Those are all just a plus.
Yeah.
Those are all just a bit of sugar on top. But this is like just the small things. Like I've had so many like moments. Those moments like where you're just like you're fully present. You just totally in awe of everything that's going on around you, man. Like, and those are the bro. That's what you want in life, man. Getting that from the smaller things.
There's just nothing wrong at that moment. Everything's right.
Yeah, man. And just like simple things like going away with my boy, having him with me, just watching his character develop and be a lot more free was my sort of moments to go, this was the right decision for me, and yeah, don't regret it at all.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, what we'll do is we'll chime you in every episode or when the episodes are going, brother, and we'll see where you're at. But when do you leave?
Bro.
When do you leave to go overseas?
I leave literally on Friday, man. I'm only here for 4 days, so lapping it all up with mum as much as possible, and integrating there with my mum for the time being. So when I leave, it's not too stressful for him.
Yeah, cool.
Because don't really have a return ticket, so we'll see what happens.
Well, next time we call you, you'll be somewhere else over in another part of the world. So I think I'm excited to call you when you're there.
Yeah, bro, for sure, man. 100%.
Is there a big time difference in Vietnam?
4 hours, bro.
Okay.
Whatever.
4 hours. But yeah, man. I'll do it wherever. I'll get up, whatever.
Maybe when you're scuba diving one time, get a waterproof case.
Oh, bro, imagine that. Dial in, that would be the best.
You're clubbing.
For sure, I came for it.
Well, you're out clubbing with him at like 2 a.m. You had some Vietnamese. Is it Vietnamese? You had some
I'll let you figure
Vietnamese.
that one out.
Jacko, I'll just call you when I call you, bro.
Yeah, whatever it is, bro.
Yeah.
Happy to be a part of it. Love you both.
All right, bro. We love you
Bro.
too, and we'll talk to you soon, all right?
Have fun, man.
No worries.
All right.
Cheers, boys.
Later,
Thank
my
you.
bro. Bye. How funny.
Bye.
How good was that? Send it these ways.
Website's that?
We'll stop the recording. What? Fuck off.
Left a couple of tabs open.
Oh, tab these. Don't do that to me.
That was good. It's cool you can do that, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Brenda, for that.
Fucking hell, yeah. This has been like you say, it's been a while.
This is a stepping stone
Yeah.
episode, I feel, for me personally,
Yeah.
to visit things that I had to visit before. I didn't want to just come on here and call bluff or just continue acting as normal.
Yeah.
Or acting, I don't want to act. I just wanted to come on and express where I was, what I've been through, and where I'm at. And all I can say is that the universe worked in my favor tenfold. It said, get clear and get clean, and all will be revealed in 30 days. Now, all is a big word, but there was a lot of clearing. There was a lot of, the universe just wanted to do a quick scan over my life and sort of move things and allow me to let go of it and just let them control it. So moving forward, man, like that's what I'm doing. And a funny realization come through. It was like, as long as I'm home with the girls and I'm just having fun, that's all that matters, man. Like really, like I get home and the girls are having dance parties and I can hear, like second I pull up, I can hear like Indy's like talking like, Eden's got this. And then you hear Eden's like, Dad. And like, to me, I'm like, man, are these really even problems or am I just making them problems? So I think me meditating more, allowing the problems that I thought were problems just to stay at bay, let the universe control all that stuff. And as long as I'm home having dance parties and just enjoying every moment I get with the girls, that's enough for me, man. Like that's literally everything. Everything else can play out the way it's supposed to. Universe can, like literally I'm handing it all over. Wherever you want me in this world, sweet, just as long as I can be here and present. And I think that was the thing too. It was like, what fills up your cup? You know, people don't know what fills up their cup. And I think that's a big thing that people need to start to realize is what makes you feel.
Well, that's what Jacko's doing, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
You know, he's got this freedom.
Yeah.
You know, everything's kind of done a big 180 for him.
Yeah, but
in
he
the
just
last
feels it.
how long?
Yeah.
And then he's just going, all right, well, I'm going to use this and I'm going to use the time I have to go and figure out what I really like doing. And he's scuba diving down there, having like a mad experience. He's gone up to Queensland, he's travelling, he's doing all those things.
And do what really matters, like what really matters to you, not everyone else.
Yeah.
No one else needs to know your plan. No one else is you. So you don't need to worry about anyone else. What makes you feel good? Do more of that.
Yeah.
What makes you feel stressed? Work that out. Why does it make you feel stressed? I don't know, because and I've had actually a couple conversations this week and last week that were powerful. I literally said to some people, I never want to be in the thought about your thoughts anymore. They're like, what? I'm like, I never want to put myself in a position to be in thoughts about your thoughts anymore. And they're like, wow. And I'm like, I don't want you to be in a thought about my thoughts. So what we're going to do is if you start to tell yourself a certain story, call me. Hey, man, this is a story I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
Tell me otherwise.
Yeah. No, I think
And 'cause
you can never go wrong when you nip things in the bud. Fresh.
9 times out of
catch
10,
it.
your story that you were telling yourself was an illusion.
Yeah.
So, and that conversation of like, hey, we're going to stand here soul to soul, and I'm going to tell you I don't like being in thoughts about your thoughts. So moving forward, if I do have a thought and it sticks for too long, I'm going to express it and then you tell me otherwise. Because let's be real, most of the things we get caught up in is thoughts about other people's thoughts. So you can free yourself from it by having that conversation. So I did with a couple people and it already feels good. I'm like, holy fuck. So now when the stories come through, it's like, if something's up, speak it, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I think you can never go wrong, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, even from experience, like I think the more, you know, I've tried to be honest, I've always been that way. I could never ever sit on things.
Yeah.
Like if something's bothering me,
Yeah, I'm bad.
I'll lose sleep. Like
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no. I need to get it up and out.
Yeah.
And it's never done me wrong. Like I've always been that way, and it always makes me, because at the end of the day, you got to go to bed with yourself, like you say. You got to spend time in your own head. If it makes you feel better, and I know exactly how it makes me feel once I get shit off my chest. If someone's said something, whatever the situation may be, as soon as I address it, weight's been lifted. So why am I going to sit on it?
Yeah.
Just because I'm worried about how they're going to feel or what they're going to think if I say, hey, look, I wanted to mention this or that, or like whatever. Like it's just, you're acting from your heart, you know. So,
and speaking from your truth, like, speaking your truth about how you actually feel with certain people is massive. You need to do it. Otherwise, you're being a character with them. You're acting.
Yeah. I think if you're worried about saying how you feel to someone because you're not sure if they're going to stick around, well, they shouldn't be around anyway.
Yeah, 100. Yeah.
I think the people that you want and need in your life are the ones that you can go to with whatever, talk about whatever, no matter how difficult it might be or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think they're the people that you need around.
Yeah. Because it is. If you're not speaking of how you feel first, you're doing you and them a disservice.
That's right.
So, funny story to wrap things up. It's one of those stories. So random, it just come through, and I thought it'd be cool to wrap it up. I have to sleep with my hand on Janae's head. So, like, I have to.
Is that like the crystal ball? You just
and what I do is I tie her hair in between my fingers. So like,
you gotta wake up early.
So literally, and it's like, I don't know if it's a protection thing of like, where do you think you're going?
I got you by the hair.
No, I don't know why, but funny story, and that's what happened when you said you've got to go to sleep with yourself. It come through because the other night she ended up on the lounge, and then there was a couple of nights she was on the lounge because the girls were sick and whatever. So she's got this hair extension that's in her.
I was just about to say one of Indy's doll toys things.
No. She's got this hair. She's got this hair extension in the bathroom that she's like. It's like a sticker thing, and she stuck it on one of her little conditioner bottles, and it just sits there, right? And I seen it the other day, and I thought, you know what's so funny? Imagine if I told her I went to bed with it the other night. So, anyways, I put it next to my bed. So she come in the room, she's like, "Why the fuck is that next to your bed?" I'm like, "Because I've been sleeping with it." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "I've been sleeping with that conditioner bottle, and I've been using the extension for my fingers. So if you want to sleep in the bed, or don't sleep in the bed." She's like, "Are you fucking serious?" And she's like, "You're being weird. This is creepy." But then I ended up putting it away. So the conditioner bottle's there if needed.
Putting it away
in the bathroom.
Okay.
But anyways, this felt nice to get on the mic again. I feel like it was like getting used to it. I don't know.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I was in thoughts before coming on.
Yeah.
I
think it was needed. I think it was nice. I think now moving forward, it's about dropping into the stories that are things that are actually going on.
I found, weirdly enough, the break that we did have, I kind of found that I was falling back into certain things I didn't want to fall back into.
Yeah.
I think doing this and speaking my truth and putting it out there, it holds me accountable too.
Yeah.
And I think it was doing that. I don't think I realised it was until we weren't doing it. But this is good for me. Like, I find this is like keeping me real.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know? Like, and I don't know. Just I seen that video about being by yourself. I think just this has been a period where I've got a lot of time to dwell on things, and I've got a lot of energy and time to put into where I want to put it. And so I do really have to be mindful of discipline and practicing what I preach. So
yeah, no, it's been good, man. It was been good to have you back on. It's been good to be able to be back on with you and sit here and speak our truth. And I think moving forward now, it's about dropping in, and whatever's coming through at that moment is coming through. So thank you for listening, guys, or watching. Episode 26. Done and dusted. All right. See ya.
Cheers.